the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Don't want to give. I just don't want to give much away, but or anything away. But we really look at these last 4 episodes, kind of the big 4 we call it. And it was funny because every time when you write the show, you write an arena first, which is a couple pages kind of idea of what the story is. And every time we do the arena, Eric would go, "Okay, here's the episode that we can't. It's too big to produce." And it just we kept saying it each of the 4. Just everything absolutely comes to a head in these last 4. It's everything for this season, and actually for the last 2 seasons. There's things in the final episode that actually harken back to the beginning of the series. So you can almost look at these first 2 seasons as kind of like the first chapter of kind of a bigger kind of epic saga, and things take a big turn in 22. Not only for our characters, but just in the storytelling itself. So if you really kind of again take a step back and look at it like this kind of grand mythic saga, we really just turning the corner from chapter 1 into chapter 2, and all the characters there's something life-changing for each of them, and we got a hint of that in the last episode with Charlie having to kill Jason, and that obviously sets her on a course. But it's a real curious change in her that again, not what you necessarily expect, which is good. And then the episode upcoming, Miles is the one who has this just really very significant life-changing event. And then Rachel's kind of our lightning rod for all of the for both of the story threads that our key story threads. One of which is the nanotech, and the other is the Patriots. And so she's kind of attacked by both sides by both of those storylines, and which starts her down quite a unusual path. They're really just really big episodes, and for me the fun is I wasn't on the show the first season. I was doing my own show, and then I came on the second season. But I was just a fan of the show the first season, so I was like, for me it's like a fan who gets to like write on the show, and it's just so much fun to kind of see the plan for it, and seeing kind of what it's all about.
Well, kind of to touch back on one of the things you mentioned with Charlie killing Jason, what can you do about the ramifications for the entire group? Because obviously Jason is the son of 2 powerful people, and Charlie is Rachel's daughter. What can you tease about how the tensions will be shifting and as we go through the final episode?
Yeah, well, I mean, the number one thing, I think in the first 2 minutes of the next episode, Miles makes the point. Who we have to, get before he gets us. It's Tom Neville, and when Tom Neville finds out, obviously it's this whole other. There's at least 2 levels of dynamic going on. One is he's lost his son, who he'd obviously always he had love for him and great hope for him, but took him completely for granted. I mean, he was just, I'll always be able to I'll hug him when all this is over, and now that's all gone. And so that's part 1. And part 2 is when he finds out who was the one who did it, just his natural instinct for revenge, and he's already he's lost in the season. The very thing that drove him initially, which was everything for family, is gone. So it's going to make for a really interesting kind of free agent next season, but a free agent who's coming from a place of real anger. I think one of the things that to me is exciting, I really enjoyed his journey this season, because we got to have a Tom Neville story, storyline, because he was off on his own. He was kind of the hero of his own storyline. But I just always loved Tom Neville as you saw him from the beginning of the pilot, where he's just he's the supreme kind of villain character, and so this is an opportunity to really spin him back into that. And I just really, I just can't see Sean Carlo get his teeth into that. So.
Well, the buzz online is that JD's not really dead. Is he dead?
We always have we have the advantage that we have the nanotech, which has proven itself able to bring people back. Having said that, we're incredibly judicious about not just waving our magic wand and saying someone's alive. But that's not to say that that JD hasn't returned to the set since his demise. Let me put it that way. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's part his. Where he fits into the puzzle these last 4 episodes is absolutely essential and key to spinning this into the next season. That's all I'm saying.
For Monroe, he kind of is part of the group, but has a very complicated relationship with each member. And now he's kind of getting the taste for wanting to be in power again and have Miles by his side. Going through these last few episodes, does that come back up about who's going to be in power if the Patriots are gone, or is there like a power struggle? And can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, no, there definitely is. I mean, the Patriot story comes to in these last 4 episodes. The Patriots make their ultimate play. They really make their last push, and it all centers on Willoughby, which has been kind of a punching bag all season, and is now just threatening in the most extreme way. But if our people can take down the Patriots, there is an infrastructure that's been built and prepared for a very long time that then will be leaderless. And I think Monroe starts to see that. He's a man with great ambitions to rebuild what he had, but to do that from the ground up again would be incredibly hard. But to do it with the foundation of what the Patriots have would be pretty easy. And I think that's one thing that's kind of one of the things that's keeping him in the fold with our folks. Plus, he really is hoping to obviously lure Miles back. As a psychic, they really have a really interesting kind of complex friendship that just goes incredible. It's the deepest friendship relationship that either of them has, but it's obviously incredibly fraught. So, and that's pretty good, good fodder for what they're doing. So.
What kind of thought have you guys given to the balance with the Miles character? Because in some ways, obviously, the character could grow, or he could get pulled back into Monroe's ways. Is there a difficult balance of trying to figure out which direction is the right one to bring him in without it being too much of one way or the other?
It's a really good question. This season was for us was kind of about that. Was a man who really is kind of pulled in both directions. Obviously, is very drawn to protect his family, but on the other hand, would love to just kind of bow out and not be part of any of it. Upcoming episode, the first of the final 4, will sets him on a course that is going to be hard for him to adhere to. But he's really going to try, and so you'll see a kind of renewed Miles, and where you'll see in these last 4 and as we launch into next season is someone who does have a very kind of specific drive, and then he's going to try really hard to view to that. So see how it goes.
How much does the nanotech play, over these last few episodes?
And that's going to be our last question.
Nanotech is huge. I mean, it's been kind of studying mankind, here and specifically, through Aaron. But these last 2 episodes, it starts to kind of suspect that, having studied humankind for a while, and even though we are its creator, that it starts to find this kind of sorely lacking. And what exactly does that mean? Because it's not a matter of just destroying humanity, but what does it mean, and how do you kind of relate to your creator when you find that your creator is, or begin to suspect that your creator is less than you are. You've got those 2 stories that you've been building kind of separately, but parallel all season. Collide essentially at these last 4. So
Skynet, Revolution style.
When the writers are, they're always like referring to other things, not like let's steal, but let's just just for the shorthand. And there's Skynet and there's all sorts of it's like we're all good end of Skynet. Right? Yes. End of season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.